Okay, so the next tab, quizzes, is probably the one that's of most interest to everyone today. If there's a quiz built in here that's kind of ready to go, then you can actually make use of it right away. Probably more beneficial than a lot of the rest of the stuff in here. First thing I'll sort of mention here, you notice that some of these say inactive and the others don't. Essentially, what your students see when they go into the quiz section is they only see the active quizzes. So if you want to keep a quiz hidden from the students until the point when it's ready to be written, you'll want to make sure that when you click on the quiz, you go to, this is sort of the edit area. Under restrictions, you set the status to be inactive. Okay, so restrictions will always be the main idea, the main thing that will allow the students to see or not see, access or not access any aspect of the course, really, down to the content at some point. That's kind of an advanced topic that I might get to depending on how much I get done in the next hour or so. So restrictions inactive, you can set a start date and end date. And of course, if you set the start date and the end date and then set it to be active, it still doesn't appear until the start date has actually been reached. So if we sort of set this for, let's say 6:30, it now jumps down here, sorry, future quizzes, it's active, but my students still won't be able to see the quiz at this point. Okay, so he still sees the same ones, nothing for Unit 1 at that point. I'm going to jump over here to surveys at the same time. Surveys and quizzes actually look a lot alike, and I've seen people get confused as to which one's which. The main difference between them, of course, is the quizzes can be marked and surveys can't really be marked, or at least not very successfully. That said, again, the layout is exactly the same, and actually if you click down here to add edit questions, the survey questions you get, the options you get, multiple choice, true, false, all the exact same things as with the quiz as well. So I'm going to really quickly here just show you how to edit a quiz. You certainly can create your own the same way, but so this is the basic layout, again, restrictions and all the regular sort of things here. One thing that is of interest, probably submission views. By default, what happens is when the students write the quiz, it just kind of sits there, and then you go in and mark it when you have the opportunity. We do have the option, however, to create a different scenario, so we can sort of create a new scenario here called give feedback, and that when the students are finished the quiz, I'm going to have it show all the questions with user responses. I can get it to show, obviously give them a score, show them which ones they got correct, which ones they got incorrect, these sort of different options. I tend to go with show them the incorrect answers and then let them actually have a second shot at it or something, but I don't usually use this as a true summative. It's more of a formative option for me. And then basically just have to make sure I check that as this is what I want to have happen. I want to show the answer. I don't want to show them the correct answer, but I do want to show them that these are the questions specifically you got wrong. And actually that's still, I wanted to go through changing and editing questions as well. So sorry, once you click on it again, edit quiz, down below here are the actual questions, and I can choose to add or edit questions. If I were to click on those down there prior to hitting the edit, all I do is I preview them. So here, question 3 is one that I think really needs some editing. Oh, good choice. It's just an equation that you can't actually see. Okay, so this is 8 times negative 9, and basically I don't think that question is quite sufficient for a class of our level, so we want 8 times negative 9 plus another 8. That seems much better. Actually, that's too hard for me right now, so we're going to make it a plus 10. And then down here, I can add various options to indicate how many marks a student gets for his or her answer. So in this case, negative 62 will be worth a full 100%. I can also add other possible answers. if there's, if it's a question where multiple possible answers would be valid, I can do that. In this case, let's see, negative 72 plus, so let's say if they do put negative 82, I'll give them half marks. And so that's sort of how this area works. If you give them 100%, they get full marks on the question, 50% they get half the marks on the question, and so on. You can also, of course, add new questions, and you can see a series of options here. And multiple choice is probably the nicest because it does mark itself, or it can mark itself, assuming you set it up that way. What is the capital of Canada? And you can use capitals and stuff properly if you want to. And so my various options will be Ottawa, and that would be worth 100%. Toronto, Montreal, and New Liskeard. And I think I'll give them 50% for that one just because it's kind of cute. Now, the other thing with the multiple choice here, randomize options. If you click that, what happens is it still remembers, of course, that Ottawa is the correct answer, but it does randomize the order in which the field cannot be empty. Oh, sorry. So this is the title of the question. Catches me sometimes. This is the actual question here. I don't really ever use the title, so the question goes in that spot. And this is if you wanted to put question number 1 or something. So what is the capital of Canada? And when I preview it, it shows me this is sort of what it's going to look like. And you can see that the options have been randomized. If I preview it again, if it gives me time, the order has changed. Ottawa has switched. I think Montreal was first last time as well. But so this is what the students see, and when grading, this is what you sort of figure out, that this is worth 100%, this is worth 50%. So it kind of lets you know what the question was, what the grading scheme that was put in was, whether it was yours or somebody else's. And you can see it's pretty easy to use. Adding images and so on gets to be a pain. You can click here to insert an image, you have to upload it and so on. It's a little slow, but certainly for normal text and so on, I find it quite nice. I'm going to cancel that. And this one's got a little longer, but when I'm setting this up, restrictions, assessment is where I want to go. Is sort of the last thing here. I want to allow it to be set as graded immediately. So this will mark the test on its own and give them feedback. Sort of give them the feedback that I said earlier as far as which questions they got wrong.